In a small, dusty village nestled between two silent hills, lived a girl named Lami. She was born on a night when the moon turned red, a rare eclipse that the villagers believed was a curse. Her mother died giving birth, and her father, blaming her for the loss, barely acknowledged her presence. Lami grew up wearing hand-me-downs that were too large for her, and eating whatever scraps remained after her father and brothers had finished. The villagers often whispered when she walked past, their eyes filled with pity or worse, disdain. "She brings misfortune," old Mama Cootie would mutter, clutching her grandson whenever Lami went by. "She's odd," others would say. Always staring at the stars, talking to birds, and drawing circles in the dirt. What no one knew was that Lami carried a secret, an ancient treasure, hidden not in gold or jewels, but in her very soul. Every night, when the world was asleep and even the insects had fallen silent, a strange glow would softly pulse from her chest. She would cup her hands, and tiny lights would dance within them like fireflies, but warmer, brighter, alive. They whispered stories from long ago, songs in forgotten tongues, and sometimes, the names of people Lami had never met but somehow knew. This treasure, this light, had awakened in her when she turned 12. Since then, she kept it hidden, afraid of what her father or the villagers might do if they saw it. Then came the drought. Crops withered. The well dried up. Cattle dropped dead from thirst. The village's only hope was a distant river, said to be beyond the ashen forest, a place no one dared to enter, filled with thorns and howling shadows. One by one, the strongest men set out to find it. None returned. When Lami offered to go, the laughter could be heard for miles. "You," her father spat. "You're not even good enough to feed the chickens." But that night, she quietly passed their sleeping bodies and into the forest. The trees seemed to whisper as she moved past. Shadows danced and beasts prowled, but whenever they drew near, the light in Lami's chest blazed through her skin, surrounding her with a radiant shield. The monsters fled. The forest bent. The path revealed itself. At the heart of the forest, she found the river deep, cold, and glowing with the same strange light that dwelled inside her. And standing beside it, waiting, was a woman cloaked in stars. "You have come," the woman said, her eyes ancient and kind. "The light has found its way back." She told Lami that she was the last descendant of the keepers, guardians of an eternal flame meant to protect and renew the land. The light inside her was not a curse but a gift, one that needed to awaken fully to save her people. With the woman's guidance, Lami dipped her hands into the river and sang the songs she had heard in dreams. The river began to rise, flowing backward through the forest, carving a path all the way to the village. When the villagers awoke, they saw the river shimmering through the dust, and at its head walked Lami, glowing like the dawn. They fell to their knees. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. From that day on, no one called her cursed again. They called her Lami the Light-Bearer, and songs were written of her bravery. But Lami never stayed in one place for long. Her light was meant for more than just one village. And so she continued onward into other dying lands, toward other forgotten rivers, carrying her great and incredible treasure, the power to bring light where there once was darkness. Years passed after Lami brought the river to her village. News of her spread like fire across the land, not just as a savior, but as a mystery. She traveled from one suffering land to another, her light reviving dead crops, healing broken lands and calming storms. Where she walked, hope returned. In one distant kingdom, ravaged by years of war and famine, a young prince named Untold ruled with a heavy heart. His father had died on the battlefield. His people were broken, angry, and afraid. He had heard the tales of a girl who carried the light of the old world, and when the kingdom's last well turned to dust, he sent his fastest horseman to find her. Lami came, not on a golden chariot, but on foot, barefoot, robes tattered from travel. The court scoffed, but the prince saw something in her eyes, fire and kindness woven together. "Will you save my people?" he asked. "I cannot save them," she replied. "But I can awaken the light in them." And so she did. She slept among the poor, shared her food with beggars, and taught the people songs from the old keepers. Her light flowed not just through magic, but through courage, care, and conviction. Soon the land bloomed again, and for the first time in decades, laughter returned to the streets. The prince, humbled by her wisdom, fell in love with her, not with her power but with her soul. One day before the gathered people, he knelt, not just to propose marriage but to offer her the crown. This kingdom needs a queen who can guide, not just rule. Will you reign not beside me, but above all of us as the flame queen? Lami paused. She had always run from titles and power. But then she looked at the people, children who now sang, elders who now smiled, and she understood. This wasn't about ruling, but about becoming a beacon for generations to come. I accept, she said. But we will rule with wisdom, not weapons. Let this be the beginning of a dynasty not built on conquest, but compassion. They were crowned under the eclipse tree, where the moon turned red again, but this time the people cheered. The omen had returned not to curse, but to complete the circle. And so began the dynasty of light. Lami ruled for many years, justly, fiercely, gently. Under her reign, borders opened, schools of magic and healing blossomed, and every child was taught that the greatest treasure was not wealth or war, but the light each one carried within. Even now, they say that in times of darkness, when the land begins to forget itself, the Flame Queen will rise again, born of stardust and sorrow, to remind the world that even those who are overlooked can carry the power to lead empires.